Our show today will be cinematography, and I'm going to be opening up my Google document. And if there's any questions, comments, concerns, or anything like that you wish to know, well, you can just enter it in the Google document. And I'm going to say showtime. Show is live. Perfect. I'll be editing this out in the final cut, so
Alright, cool.
it's pretty easy to do. Alrighty, so today we'll be learning cinematography. Lovely, lovely cinematography, which basically, one of the biggest things I always hear, it's a pet peeve of mine. Everyone says, oh, the story and the script is the most important part of the film. It's not really, to be honest. It's a balance of execution and the story.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. It's how it's executed. I mean, even if it has a weak, let's say a weak script, you can make it good.
But it's not going to pull you in as much as a really well-told story is done poorly, told poorly through visuals. It'll bore you, or you'll lose your interest. And there's a couple key critical moments. The first 5 or 6 minutes is the most important.
Because that sets the whole film up, doesn't it?
Yep, from opening shots, anything like that. Just think of if you've seen Gravity. The first 12
No,
minutes is one long take, but it just draws you in. It's spectacle.
I think you could say that for Space Odyssey. Maybe that opening shot
Mm-hmm.
is pretty majestic.
Just something that draws you in, and its story. And the story, Sidney Lumet, if you ever seen 12 Angry Men, I have his book up here as well. The camera, if Sidney Lumet directed 12 Angry Men and Network, and he was a well-known American director. He said the camera can make up for a deficient performance. It can make a good performance better. It can create mood. The camera can't talk back. It can't ask stupid questions. It can ask penetrating questions that make you realize you've been wrong all along. But hey, it's a camera. The camera can create ugliness. It can create beauty. It can provide excitement. It can capture the essence of the moment. It can stop time. It can change space. It can define a character. It can provide exposition. It can make a
Atmos-
joke. It can make a miracle. It can tell a story.
Atmosphere as well.
Mm-hmm. Very, very, very important. If my movie has 2 stars in it, it really has 3. The third star is the camera. That's it's a great. I picked it up at a half-price bookstore. I read it a couple of times. It's called Making Movies by Sidney Lumet. It's one of those if you're really interested in reading.
And yeah, for its right, aspiring filmmakers.
Now, the biggest things I've noticed with iClone filmmaking, with iClone films, there are 2 main things I see. Well, 3. I'm going to rate 3 out. One is people need to get rid of the text-to-speech voice acting.
Yeah, I used to do that with some of my old movies, films. I mean, I don't know, it came across as more humorous.
Maybe the
You
next
know,
show I can provide a link for voice actors. There's one great site I've noticed. I've picked up recently that
yeah.
provides great voice acting.
The problem with text to speech is sometimes it can sound fairly realistic, but otherwise it just there's no emotion in it really. I mean,
No,
it's essentially just a robotic voice, and it's especially awkward when you're trying to put in angry lines.
it deters me, and I noticed that there was a thread somebody pointed out saying, "Oh, this thing's great." It's like, why don't you use this site? You can tell people willing to act for your film, Skynet, especially when you own the rights, so it won't get taken down due to the copyright strikes. Why don't you use that? Or if you're willing to pay, the people will definitely. I mean, paid productions get more attention that
Yeah,
site.
I would be willing to pay people
But
if to get jobs done. Yeah.
the only time I need to pay people if they're making any monetary gain off it, it's just because it's fair. But second thing I noticed was lighting. A lot of the lighting is really poor. And mine included. I used to be really bad at lighting, but I had to work on it.
Yeah, I've seen lighting is can be a problem in a lot of iClone films. I've seen it myself. Like it's almost like there's no lighting. I mean, we've seen it before in
Yeah,
some work we've watched.
a lot of poor lighting. And the third and final thing is cinematography. Well, also fourth is animation, but animation's tricky, especially in iClone. They don't have a good curve editor. People have been asking for that, and I highly agree. We need a curve editor.
Sometimes animation can look robotic and unnatural.
Oh yeah, we also need locomotive walking. That is another thing. I really hope they get, and also clone cloth and all that stuff. But I have a big wish list. But today we'll be covering cinematography. Cinematography is a huge, huge thing. It tells its story, like what Sidney Lumet wrote in that book. But there's several big things I've noticed with iClone films, and this is very, very distracting. And I wish people would stop doing that. And I think I'm just gonna say it. What I call the Schenectady shot. I mean, when we saw that film, Man from
Oh, yeah.
Schenectady, you notice
Oh
how the
god.
camera changes from one thing and then quickly jerks to another movement, and then it quickly jerks to another one, and
Oh,
another one, and
oh,
another one.
oh, it's so jarring. It's unbelievable.
Here, I'll make an example of this. People need to stop doing this shot. It is jarring. It is distracting. You do not want your shots to let's put it in the living room. You do not want your shots to be distracting. You don't want it to draw attention to yourself, towards itself. You want shots to tell the story. And I'm going to list out the Schenectady shot right here. It's the reason why I call it the Schenectady shot. There was one film on Amazon.com. It's an iClone film. If you want to go spend $3 to watch it, you can. It is the perfect movie to not tell an iClone story whatsoever. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be bashing it, but truth is, it is.
Hey, it's justified. The, I mean, you can see some potential in it, but the execution's,
Poor.
yeah, very, very poor.
And so this is what I'm gonna be talking about. This, so we're gonna be using the camera here. So it would move from here, and then suddenly, from here. And, well, let's just put in a shot like this. I'm just calling it the Schenectady shot because it's just a weird nickname I'm giving it. There's other names, I would say, the long take.
It's fitting. It makes sense. I mean,
So from here, and then suddenly, well, actually, that's a better example. I'm talking about shots that really jerk around and move around and wander. Don't
just really lazy camera editing at best.
Yeah, something like this. I'm sick of shots like this. I'm really sick of it. We need to get rid of that. If you're doing a long take, there's one filmmaker that I know, Emmanuel Lubezki. People call him Chivo. That's his nickname, Chivo, which means goat in Spanish, but the guy is a master at long takes, and The Revenant is his, he shot The Revenant, he shot Gravity, he shot Birdman, he did The Tree of Life and a lot of, and, Beyond the Wonder, I think, was the other Terrence
Remember
Malick film.
another good example, Hitchcock's Rope.
Rope is a
It was-
great example.
Yeah, done in very long takes. That one.
There's a French film I noticed, I can't remember the name, it had Tilda Swinton in it. I can't remember the name of it, but a lot of it was all long takes. Long takes are incredibly difficult to execute, but for the love of God, can you people stop doing shots like this? This is distracting.
Oh yeah.
If you want to do a tracking shot, make sure there's a purpose for it. Make sure every single shot you do has a purpose. So if you want it to move from one item, just kind of do it slowly. And not only that, but enable a transition curve, like ease out. Ease out is much easier because it provides a much more smoother stop.
Yeah,
It slows it down instead of jerking right at the last moment.
oh god, that shot is it's difficult to watch.
It is.
I mean, it's very bad.
I see that a lot in a lot of iClone films, and it's completely distracting. People are thinking, especially when people move the camera around for a purpose.
I
It
think
looks cool. No.
it is a problem in some movie films as well. I'd say The Remedy, yeah.
The Remedy falls through it. Pay. Um, we're bashing some old films, but this is just a better example. Wonder Boy
It's
was a great example of that.
oh no.
It's just and I see this a lot with a lot of iClone films too. They like to move around the camera just because it looks cool. Don't do that. If you do it because it looks cool or it looks awesome or anything like that, and it's distracting, you have failed to
It
tell a
doesn't.
story.
It doesn't look cool though. That's the thing. There's nothing awesome about it. It just makes you feel sick at best.
Not only that, but if you do that or anything like that, or if you want to provide power or have a shot that just makes, there has to be some symbolic reference or the way to tell the story. So one of the most, so yeah, when you do a tracking shot or a dolly or anything like that, make sure it has context behind it. Make sure you're telling the story. Make sure, otherwise you have failed and you have lost attention.
Oh, I'm just after asking, what are your thoughts on shots that, like, let's say, like tracking shots that show part of a city as part of an intro sequence? Would you say that benefits?
It benefits because it draws the viewers in. It depends on how you shoot it as well. One of my personal favorite films is Gravity. When it comes to cinematography and long tracking shots, it's Gravity.
I have heard Gravity is a quality film.
Because it's so shot so well. It kind of draws you in and it raises goosebumps. I saw that film in IMAX 3D, and it gave me goosebumps because it was just so into it, and it puts you right into the scene.
Oh,
That's,
I bet.
yeah.
I bet IMAX watching it there. But that was a brilliant experience.
Another thing I've noticed with iClone films, especially when is compositing, is composing the shot. They a great example. Let's put in. I'm gonna put somebody in the character creator. Let's put in Sky Girl. Let's put in her. This is one of the most common things I see, and there's only several instances where I say that would be okay. You know, unless it provides its shot. This is what I hate about iClone default lighting. It's crap.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Oh wait, I put in the default lighting. It's just you just need to have a better. I always use spotlights. I love ever since the whole iClone 6 thing enables full spotlight control. This made me happy because you can just have a look at her head and then there's the shot.
It's convenient.
Very convenient, and then with the right shots and lightings, you can actually make somebody look good. I see people shooting like this, or this, or this, or this. You know, or I have characters completely when they're talking, right in the center.
It looks.
Now, I understand that's okay for some segments, but if you're doing a normal talking scene, it doesn't follow up very easily. So let's just put an animation on this. Well, first of all, I'm going to remove all the animation. I'm going to keep the current frame I like. There. That's a new feature iClone just put in. I just noticed it recently. Remove animation, but you can keep it on the current scene, and it works incredibly fast. That's a really cool tool. It works well with lighting. So instead of having your lights move around, it stays the same. So let's just
Very, very, very useful feature.
Okay, there we go. Alrighty. Now we're going to be mentioning, I think my first thing for the Google document today was the type of shots. So let's go into detail for that today. Now, there's something called medium, close-ups, extra long, but there's also something called objective and subjective. Objective is more from a sideline perspective. The audience views the event. So something like maybe like a close-up on an airplane, you would shoot. So something like this. You know, the character is staring at something, and then suddenly it goes to a wall or a painting. This would be pretty much more like an objective or a point of view shot. Subjective is more like the character staring at something and then it points to an object. You know, Hitchcock made great use out of this. You know, a character would be staring, and then the next shot would be like a knife that would indicate suspense.
Oh,
But
oh yeah.
a lot of things I've noticed, a lot of people are off center. Center shots, as long as you propose them, but people would shoot them like something like this or up here. So let's cover our shots. Still hate the
So
lighting.
if you could do a screen share, because
Oh yeah.
I'm watching from the live stream. It's kind of behind by about half a minute.
Okay. Well, let me just write it down here.
All right.
All right. Let's get into our camera angles here. I have a wonderful book here called The 5 C's of Cinematography.
Who's it written by?
It's a really old book by Joseph Maselli. So first of all, it's the long shot. The long shot would cover like action, so maybe like an entire living room or something like that, or the exterior of a building. The next, or something like it kind of just covers like the basic scene, so it'd be used for master shots. You know, the beginning of the shot, the establishing shot.
Yeah, it shows like it shows off the location well.
Or a great example, let me just put this thing, good, bad, and the ugly. I think that is one of the most beautiful shots. There's one beautiful shot.
Oh yeah, some very nice scenery in that.
The long shot here, let me show you. Or something like this. Something to establish. Pow.
yeah.
Right here.
That is brilliant.
Brilliant shot.
That's a very memorable shot. Sorry, I'm getting a call.
Alright.
Hold on.
You should mute it. Alright, I'm gonna do memorable long shots. Just kinda, it's easy for Google. Not, oh god. Film long shots, not golf. Who cares about golf? Or something like that. It indicates the scene. Next shot will be a medium. So, medium is much more from the length here. So, we're going to go to our character. In fact, let me raise the shoulders just a bit. There we go. Medium shots.
Alright, back.
Alright, look big. Medium shot is pretty much from the waist right up to here.
Like an upper body shot.
Like a body shot, you know. Medium shot is something like that here. And there's medium close-up. It's much more for conversation scenes, so there will be two shots where focus on different characters, which I'll go into. Medium close-up is right up to here. Or, yeah.
Yeah, these kind of shots will usually work best during conversations or
And the close-up is more up to here.
when a character has a certain expression.
Yep, an extreme close-up, something like here, and not only that, we can use the zoom-in tool.
Like if they're really shocked of something, it'll close up on their eyes opening dead wide.
Yep. Close-ups are more for dramatic effect. You want to get your audience invested into the screen as much as possible. So, suppose she's staring, like there's a close-up of her eyes showing fear with somebody holding a gun. What would that create? What feeling would it create for the audience?
Make a lot of fear.
Dread. Yep.
Make it more intense.
Low angle, high angle. So this would be a high angle shot. Or I think it's low. No, low angle is... Sorry, I get those two mixed up. High angle will be up to here. It symbolizes weakness. Weakness, like you're looking down at the person. High angle, power. You ever notice shots are slightly tilted up?
Yeah,
Like that for
yeah.
power? Or in the case of Citizen Kane, extreme weakness, like a giant is about to topple.
Oh, yeah, it like depicts mightiness of a character.
Yep. So a low angle, something like this. Otherwise from up high would indicate a character at a vulnerable position.
Or I know it's not the best example, but Dirty Harry, you know, when he's pointing the gun.
Yep.
It shows him. It's kind of an upper shot. It shows that he has dominance over the criminal, basically. That he has the upper hand with his 44 Magnum.
Exactly. High angle shots, you know. Or high angle. Not only that, but if you want to symbolize like maybe something like from like establishing a master shot, something like this, so they'd be walking around. Way up high shots probably be pretty interesting, like an overhead. Just for a stylized effect. Not only that, but angles. If you want to establish more depth, you shoot at an angle as well. So compose to flat, even though there's a lot more scenes. It just depends. Depends on what you really want to do. Here, the right shot makes all the difference. Here, there's also something called Dutch angles, which will pretty much cover pretty shortly. But one of the biggest things I've noticed with iClone filmmaking is a lot of the characters are centered. There are some instances if you want to shoot news scenes, and I used to do this a lot. I used to shoot news, and a lot of the shots we would shoot down the center because it's pretty much squared up. It doesn't attract much interest, doesn't, and it kind of feels weird if a character's talking. They're right in the center.
It's quite basic.
It's basic. It doesn't add interest. Not only that, but it's pretty bland. So we're going to implement something called the rule of thirds. So we're going to get my image layer here, and I'm going to put a car in. This is like the image layer, Jeff, is like what we used to do for old movie overlays.
Yeah, I get it.
So this is our rule of thirds. I made my little thing.
Like the movies overlays.
Yep, exactly. Now this is dead center. Doesn't look interesting. But you ever notice this thing is split in thirds?
Yeah.
So something like this. Eye line will be up to here. So this would be much more proper. So if we ain't, this looks a lot more interesting, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's amazing how much better that looks.
A lot better.
So much more interesting.
And if anybody wants the grid, I'll post it later. If anybody wants to download it, you put it as an image layer and then you hide it. I made this earlier today. It's a PNG of a 1080p, but it can be stretched out. It's
pretty useful. I mean, I wonder if you could put that in the movies. That would probably work well.
Oh yeah, you can. Especially you could just turn this into a DDS and then employ the alpha, and there you go.
It's just that the overlays in that tend to be quite low res.
Yep. This is more of a high res, so it'll be a 1080. Not only that, but I have to put it under a certain angle. It would just be easier. Oh, I don't know for the movies game or not, but just kind of go back and just kind of draw a little grid thing, or use your kind of imagine this grid and just follow along with it. But what I remember, oh shoot, I wasn't supposed to move that. We'll focus on her. I noticed a lot with movies, the person on the right, especially if it's angled like this, draws the most power. It's something like, not only that, but we're used to having a lot of space. It kind of gives us like, okay, if they're staring like way out here, it feels unnatural, doesn't it?
Oh god, yeah.
But if it's out here, you exhibit more space, so we're just kind of more drawn to it. It's like a subconscious thing. We're just so used to having more space in front of us. So
yeah, watching this, it's made me realise how dull center shots look.
Yep. So something like this, up to here.
I guess it depends on what context it's used in. I mean, if it's a news report.
Yeah, basically you want things basic down the center. News reports also would follow a certain shot, just for graphics. So they would be center right up to here. They would follow the rule of thirds, and then there will be a graphic that would cover at least a third of it. Not only that, but you want the eye to match the top third, because there's something called lower thirds, which display your graphics. So I'm gonna have her look at the camera just for a second. I hate characters who stare right into the camera. It looks really bad. You want to avoid that unless
they're breaking the fourth wall,
or if they're looking at a gun or something like that, and then they're a close up of an eye looking at the gun. You want to be avoid that. So let's just move her head. So something like this in a news report. You know, they would be talking, and then suddenly the graphics here. Notice how the eyes kind of match the top 2/3.
Yeah.
You want to keep it like that. Not only that, but you want your eye lines to match, and that's a problem. I still kind of have problems with it. It's the eye line matching. But always keep the character like around the third of the angle here, and have plenty of space. So it looks a lot more interesting, doesn't it?
Mm.
What does that tell you? More interesting.
Why?
Draws interest. People want to see it. Right there.
Oh yeah, motion blur as well.
That's an iClone specialty.
Yeah, that movie's can't work unless you were to green screen characters onto a blurred image, but that would be too time consuming.
Yep, I used to do that with Shadows of the West. I used to put my characters on the screen, blue screen, then I filmed the background, then I removed the character, and then I would pretty much composite the two together.
It's a good way to do it. Now that looks better. With lighting, that does look better.
Let's have a look here. There we go.
Now that is looking very good.
There we go. She looks a lot better. Lighting can make a huge difference. And
Lighting
you
is
know,
useful.
right here, you notice that there's a lot more space. So that's pretty much the big thing as well. And we're going to be, next rule I'm going to show is another thing that I noticed iClone is break. Now, this isn't like you're going to go to jail for a long, oh shoot, what did I do? I'll leave it alone. You're not going to go to jail for a long time, of course, but breaking it would cause disorientation amongst viewers. And you want to avoid that. You don't want to confuse your audience or snap out unless you have a certain purpose. We call this the 100-degree angle rule. The 180-degree rule. I'm sure you're familiar with that, Jeff, right?
Yeah, I think so.
The 180-degree rule is a major thing to follow. You can break it, but it only disorientates the viewer. And unless your purpose is to confuse people, or I think one of the best examples I can remember that breaks the rule is the Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, where Gollum is talking to himself. That breaks the 180 rule completely, but the reason why he did it is to split Gollum into two different personalities, and to show the good one and the bad one.
Useful.
Yep, Ozu did it. He was a Japanese filmmaker in the 50s. He did it a lot, apparently, and he's well known for it. But between these, we gotta get better lighting for her. Lighting is key. Lighting is your friend. All hail the light.
The lights don't show up in the camera, the actual film, do they? They're just there for
They're there just for guide.
guidal purposes.
Now, put this here. And we'll have her look at this. There we go. Better lighting. Alright, so the camera will focus on her. And then the preview, we're going to set up a different shot. Make a new camera just for her. Make sure the eye lines are matching. Right power.
Nice.
Right, the power. Alright. Now, we'll display it here. And the original camera. 3. There. Here.
Very good.
Now, oh, God, not supposed to do that.
Oh.
Alright, don't worry, undo is your friend. Control V. Now, just...
Except when you could only undo once.
Yep.
But
Imagine a line split down the middle here. That is the 180-degree line. And anything along this line
Hold
These,
on, someone's knocking at the door, Ben.
okay, I'll explain it once you get back. But you notice how this line here, and here, right here and here, that's the line here, that's one side. These two cameras here, people, that unless you want to disorientate your audience, these two cameras should never ever cross this degree line. So you would get a shot like here and here, here, here. And notice how the eye lines match? So the eye would match the top here, and the next one would match here. It's much more natural to have it as an eye level. It's more natural, it's smoothing, and not only that, but when they look and they stare into the eyes, that's the first thing you would kind of notice looking at a person, is to stare right into their eyes. So that's one thing we got to know. It's very, very important. Let's have a look here. Alrighty, back. Okay, I'm just kind of mentioning the eye line here.
I'm back.
I mean, that's the first thing you would notice in a person, right? Is looking into their eyes.
Of course.
Right here and here.
Both directly face each other.
Yep. And they don't have to be in the same room. You notice that, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, the camera can create its own space. So these two ladies here, you see the line dividing here and here?
Mm-hmm.
That's the 180-degree line. Now, all cameras should not cross this line unless you want to disorientate your audience. I'll give you an example. So we'll follow here. So let's make one camera cross here. I'm going to bring back my line. We're going to be following our guideline here. Here. And here. And I'm going to create a new camera. Alright. And I'm going to hide this, but keep this. Alright. And then our camera from here and here. Does that look really confusing when they shoot like this? Do it here, and then finally here.
Yeah, because it's the exact same shot, but like different people.
Yep, and it confuses, and it will confuse you.
That doesn't look good.
Now you can cross the 180-degree line. So if your camera would move from here, and just forgive the animation. So it would cross from here, and then suddenly it just goes. Oh, god dang it!
Sorry.
All right, and it goes from here, and then suddenly, and then the next shot. So it would go from here to here. You can break it, and then as long as the next character, our character here, goes from here. Something like that. It would remove the confusion. Or you would have it like spinning at a 360-degree angle. That was an old trick that Hollywood used to do. And that pissed people off. People didn't like it.
Yeah,
Where the camera would spin all 180 degrees. So let's put in...
outdated technique.
Very outdated. Well, it's starting to become a fad. And good riddance.
I have to ask her, what are your thoughts on Shaky cam?
Shaky cam has its good uses, and I want to cover that as well.
So like, it's a common thing in most modern action films.
Well, it resembles chaos.
It does, yeah. I can agree on that.
And it's much more useful for chaotic scenes, like maybe something like Handy Cam or something like that. But it's really, and I've done it too. I've done Shaky Cam before, and I did it with the Desperate Man, which, let's go to my YouTube channel for a second. It has its uses, but don't overdo it because people get really sick.
Yeah, that's in some films it's just overdone, like Quantum of Solace.
Quantum of Solace is a great example. That overdid it way too much. Cloverfield made people sick. It had its purpose, but it's really...
A Good Day to Die Hard.
Yep. Hey, let's go with Desperate Man. This thing was my thing.
Yeah, this was good.
Kind of shots were strange though. Here, headlines didn't match, but let's see. When he misses it, shot here, close up. As you can tell, I didn't have my grid very much. I did right there, and then suddenly right here, and then suddenly the camera got shaky. This was a strange effect I did in Sony Vegas. And then suddenly I did the Steadicam shot.
It works though because it shows he's losing consciousness.
Yep. I wanted to resemble pain. Now this one I could tell you how to do this, and you could do this in the movies too, Jeff. There's the shaky cam, but you notice how it moves like that? The camera at the foreground, the background, just warp.
Yeah.
That's something we should cover pretty shortly. That is called the Dolly zoom, or the vertical effect. If you ever seen Vertigo or Jaws.
To be honest, I hate to confess this, but I've not really seen much of Hitchcock's work, to be honest, because I've not really seen many films pre-1970. I mean, because I know that's where most of Hitchcock's work tends to be from.
Yeah, from the 50s and 60s. Not only that, but he did a lot of films in the 40s. Shadow of Doubt is a great film. If you really like his work, there's a book called Hitchcock Truffaut, which is like its own filmmaking bible. I lost my copy years ago, and I might buy a new one. But I used to read that book like 6 times, read it over and over and over and over again. Because it's two filmmakers, Francois Truffaut and Alfred Hitchcock. It's pretty much discussing his films, and it goes into such great detail.
Every single one.
Every single film he's done until like the 60s.
But not his 70s ones. Like,
No, not the 70s ones. It goes up to...
So it doesn't include Frenzy?
No, or Topaz. It doesn't include those two. I don't think it even includes Marnie either. I don't think it does. Don't worry. But it just...
He'd only done 2 films in like the 70s.
It's just Topaz, I think. But Shaky cam is pretty easy. I covered it on last week's show. You would attach a certain avatar, and then you would do a motion puppet, and then you would connect the camera to the character's head, so it'd move around. And you can control how much it can, or you want with the right adjustments, you can control how much the camera will shake.
It would be useful in demonstrating or depicting like an actual disaster, let's say an earthquake.
Yep. Another shot I noticed, iClone gives you the power, the movies doesn't. I'm going to create this from a new camera. It's called the Dutch Tilt.
Mm-hmm.
Which is... Oops.
I feel like I interrupt too much at times.
Oh, don't worry.
I'm sorry.
No worries. It's called the Dutch Tilt. Which, the Dutch Tilt... Hang on. Gotta remove a certain thing. It used to be with iClone 4. I'm guessing they can fix it now. Where you can adjust the camera, so we'll go at a 22-degree angle. These kind of shots. And I don't think the only person I've seen who did the Dutch tilt was Mark, Small Wonder Studios. I have not seen one person do this yet.
What are your personal thoughts on it?
I think it has a great use. Sam Raimi is well known for these kind of shots. If you ever seen The Evil Dead and Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2, Spider-Man did it a couple times.
Mm-hmm. Battlefield Earth.
Battlefield Earth is the worst case scenario of doing the Dutch tilt because it did it every single shot, or almost every single shot was a Dutch tilt. You want to avoid that because people hate it. But it's great for creating chaos.
I hate to bring that movie up.
But it kind of feels uneasy, like a funhouse effect.
If it's not overdone, then it can work well.
Film noir, I know some film noir used the Dutch tilt. But, yeah, shots like this. It feels unnatural. Anime uses the Dutch tilt a lot. Especially a lot of manga.
So,
It's like a common thing I see. There's a lot of Dutch tilts and angles and everything. Everything is at an angle to symbolize chaos. But, let's have a look here. But I mentioned the Dutch tilt's very easy. You just adjust the y-axis, X, Y, and Z, and you rotate the y-axis. And that's how you do the Dutch tilt. It's great for horror scenes, too. So let's have a look. If there anybody wrote in the Google document.
can't do it in the movies, not with free cam anyway.
No, it can't be done with free cam. You would have to edit it.
Free cam's very limited.
You would have to edit it in post-production. So I covered the types of shots. The 180-degree rule. The rule of thirds, which, if anyone wants this grid, I can give it to them for free. I just made it just for fun. But the Dutch tilt is very, very useful. I rarely see iClone filmmakers use this tool. It's a shame.
It's kind of a niche technique.
It is, but it has its uses, and I like it.
I think it's pretty good as well.
I just haven't really found much use for it right now. Let's see, what could be another?
Yeah, because you don't want to use certain techniques just for the sake of it.
Yep, and otherwise it becomes distracting.
Just so you can say, oh, look, I can do this or that.
Yep, and then suddenly you got the Battlefield Earth effect where people would mock it.
Oh, dear.
Oh, boy. Let's have a look here. Alrighty, so let's go into... I mentioned Shaky Cam. Have I mentioned the... Let's go into... Well, I'm going to remove all the animation from the cameras and the lighting here. Let's actually do the Dutch tilt. Let's do the dolly zoom. So first of all, let's make our camera. And we'll focus on our Sky Girl. Here. Not that. That's the one thing with that overlay. It likes to move around if you click on it.
Can't you, like, lock it so it can't be moved?
No. Normally I would lock it, but I can't. I can't do it.
Because Photoshop and Illustrator let you lock layers, so...
Yep, this has a lock, so you can't move it, but this one doesn't. Alright, so we have our camera here. And I'm going to remove the animation. Let's put her down the middle, because I feel like breaking a few rules. This works for reaction.
Not necessarily, not in conversation, because essentially they're talking directly to the camera. And
or this works well for reaction shots too. But yeah. Alright, so we're going to move our character in, just kind of zoom in. And then I'm going to pick a point, so maybe about 300. And I'm going to zoom out. But I'm going to, I'm going to move the dolly back, sorry. And then I'm going to zoom in, so I'm going to move it to 200. You kind of readjust it. So you would get a shot. It's kind of a bad example, isn't it?
Not really. It kind of...
It doesn't work because it's on a flat background. Let's go somewhere new. Let's go visit Steve for a second. This is great for causing chaos. In fact, Jaws had the best example of this. It's like a 5-second shot. Right here.
Oh.
Right when he found out that there was a shark. Right there, and the whole calling thing. That's like chaos.
Yeah, very, very good use.
So let's put in something for Steve. I'm going to create a new camera. Then I'm going to zoom in at 105. And then I'm going to pick a certain point. And I'm going to move the camera forward, but move this back.
Mockery on my words,
So
man.
something
This whole
like
thing's
this.
turned into a culinary mockery.
Yeah, just because he's moving his head and not staying still, it kind of. But I know, yeah, I can see what he's trying to demonstrate.
This is this is actually a pretty cool shot. I just hope
He's
people
making a
don't.
mockery on my words, man. This whole thing's turned into a culinary mockery.
Yeah, you don't want people overdoing it
Oh, so this is.
because it's such a unique shot.
Oh god, yeah, it is.
He's making a mockery on my words, man. This whole thing's turned into a culinary mockery. Do you understand that, Mike?
The lip syncing is a lot better than it used to be. He's making
a mockery on my words, man. This whole thing's turned into a culinary mockery. Do you understand that, Mike?
That's what he says. Move back and forth. Alright, so with that being done, if you want the camera, also one thing about, well, I'm going to mention the dummy.
I love the arcade machines. That picture of you and Joey.
Oh, there was one with Seymour Finkelstein. Shoot, I don't know what I did with it. Probably deleted it. Oh well. But you can have a camera look at this dummy here, and oops. So we're gonna have this camera look at a dummy. I like using dummies now. It's pretty much my thing. So I would focus on a certain, you know how it's centered to the point here? Move the dummy back and forth to create a panning effect. Move it back and forth, and the camera will follow it. Move it up and down, the camera follows.
Good exposition shot.
Yep. Not only that, but it's great for pans and tilts. So this would be a pan. It would pan right towards Steve. Donkey Kong. I think I put in Space Invaders in here.
You did, yeah.
Yep, Space Invaders.
Very detailed model.
Oh, not only that, but hey, this actually could be useful if there's like a UFO or there's a bug and he's staring at it, and you can have it just move back and forth. Back and forth. Now for tracking shots. I think I still have it here. I'm gonna look.
Remember light gun games? Those arcade machines.
Very much. I think I have this. This might crash on me, but we'll have to see.
I was always bad at those.
I liked them. I liked House of the Dead too. I always liked playing Donkey Kong too. I remember playing that in an old arcade machine.
I was more of a time crisis guy, me. But it's speaking about. I hate to go off topic here, but when I went on holiday to Florida, there was some place in Disneyland. It's like this big place that had loads of these retro arcade machines, and you didn't have to insert any pennies or anything. You could just play them for free.
Oh, the Penny Arcade.
I think that's what it was called.
Oh, we went there for Left 4 Dead, Jeff.
Oh, it was Disney. I think it was Disney Quest.
Wait, no, I didn't. Oh, shoot, we're gonna have to go to the second one.
And it's closing down, apparently.
Yep, for Star Wars. Alright, well, let's go to stream 2. This is the London chase scene.
Oh, yeah, you did for... What was it again? Endgame, yes.
Let's have a look here. Now you can use... We're going to be learning how to do a path animation. Having it connect to a dummy, connect to a path, looking at another path to a dummy and path. This is great for car chase scenes. It's probably going to crash on me. But using the look at the dummy for the camera, You can actually have the camera move around as much as you want. This is great for long takes. So instead of that Schenectady shot we saw, Jeff, you can actually make it very smooth and very nice, fluid. Oh, I think I did something for Synergy. I don't remember what I did. Oh, it works. So, oh my god. So shots like this, I had it connect to a path. We can shoot a shot like this. This is only 5 seconds, but something like that. It's not distracting.
Very good scenery.
I had it follow path. Just like that.
You did put this short scene up.
Yeah.
A demonstration.
Well, I have it. I think I have it somewhere. But this is a very, 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 very tough scene to do. I had a motorcycle shot of Synergy somewhere. I don't know what I did with it. I lost the motorcycle, so I might have to buy a new one. I tried making one, but it's just way too frustrating. I cannot do it for the life of me.
That was one thing the movies was lacking. Motorcycles.
Yep. So there was a scene where the camera would weave back and forth as she drives through the highway, and there were cars passing up. And the camera would weave between one car and another while she goes through the motorcycle. And it was probably my favorite shot to do, but I lost it. It was like the old one, so I had to remake it with the new character. But
it's a good way though. Good technique in car chase scenes.
I'll show you how I do it. So we're gonna set up.
I like how that's set as the one kind of the square building.
Oh,
in the background.
Yeah, it's in London. Canary Wharf Tower, or One Canada Square, something like that.
My parents are in London right now, actually.
In London. It's only like a 300-mile drive for you.
I've never been. I've never been.
It's like me not going to Fargo.
or New York City.
Well, New York City is like 3,000 miles away. At least a few thousand miles away.
I don't love New York though. It's one of the best places I've visited.
I've been to Chicago though.
Chicago seems pretty good.
Well, I also went to Chicago when I passed Cleveland. I was at O'Hare. Just for a few days.
But one of your favorite cities was San Fran.
I love San Francisco. It's such a nice town.
Very iconic.
Very, very iconic. So, let's just do this scene here. Group it together. Joe's away in Muskegon, but... So this is just a basic path thing, so we'll have a character walking.
I'll just be away from it. I gotta order some food.
Okay. I'm just gonna put Sky Girl in here.
Alright.
Alright, so next thing, here and here. See if anybody put anything on the notes. No questions. Alright. Nothing to worry. Did I make this in? I'll make this into a terrain. The reason with terrain is that you can put iClone characters down on the ground. It's much easier. Burp. Uh-oh. Alrighty, so next things first. Alright, so next we have a character. She's walking about. A boot. Walking a boot. Let's see. Next thing is motion. Suave and charming. I think it was street walking. So next things first, I think it was just start. Can't walk loop. Ah, for goodness sake. Stupid iClone. Alright, remove animation. Make sure the dress is aligned. And we'll just have her walk. Just a basic walk. And the shoulders should go up. So we'll have her walk just a little bit. There we go. The next thing, after taking here, oh crap. That's the one thing about physics, and somebody mentioned this earlier about hair. Here's a way to fix it. Stupid skirt. We're going to deactivate the physics for the skirt. Just have her walk. Here. You know, it's the feet dragging just a little bit. That way, in fact, maybe I should put this in a frame by frame.
Alright.
Alright, I'm making her walk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to enable the skirt. Hopefully it doesn't fly off, because it normally does for iClone. iClone has a nasty habit. This is the thing with physics props. Anywhere you go. There we go. It works. Alright. Okay, so now...
It doesn't have to be just centered as well. You could, like, do it from the side.
Yep, not like that. I'm just going to show you how I move the camera around. So I'm going to create a path animation. Path animations are pretty easy. So
I do like shots. It gives you the illusion that the character has to walk many miles.
yep, it works pretty easily. Where's my path?
Imagine if it was just a long, empty road in some desert somewhere.
Did they? Oh, please tell me they didn't do this crap. Ah, stupid. There used to be... God dang it. Please tell me that there's a new way to create a new path animation. There used to be an easier way of doing it. Oh, what's this path? Oh, now I can. Sweet. Alright, so we're going to move the camera up to here. Up to here. Oops. I'm going to figure out where she walks to. Alright. And I'm going to edit this path so it could be up to here. Alright, and I'm going to raise the path up just a little bit.
This reminds you of one scene I did. I'll put it up now, and you can probably show it off as a demonstration, add some input.
Okay. I'll look at it. Alright, and next I'm going to create my camera, and I'm going to link it to a path. Link it to a path. Killing me, iClone. Oh, because it's on the last. Whoops. Silly me. Remove object animation, and then finally link it to a path. And what I'm going to be doing is creating a dummy, and The dummy will not be in that little helix. I gotta delete the helix. And I'll delete my box. I don't know that. Figure out where she goes. This is kind of going to be a long video, but this is how I count. This is like a rough and dirty version of how I filmed that Sky Girl thing. I mean, how I filmed that synergy scene. Here and here. Alright. We'll shrink it. Move it up to here. Figure out when her animation started. And then I move it to here. Alright, so it'll be right up to here. Alright. And then finally, I should move my path just a little bit up high. So it kind of focuses on her back. Okay. And the camera will look at the dummy. So, the camera will focus at the dummy here. There we go. Dummy should move down just a bit here. See how it kind of moves? Alright, and then suddenly my camera here at the final scene, my camera will go to the final part. So, my path animation. Camera, locate to the path, here. So the camera would be doing this.
Now that, yeah. Now that does look good.
Now just imagine a high-speed motorcycle passing between cars like this. It's not so jerky. It's very smooth,
No.
isn't it?
Very.
And we can put the camera down. We can put my dummy down just a little bit here.
Like, not like the nauseating skin ecstasy shot
Yep.
that we all know and love.
Yep. So you can just adjust.
This could be interesting. Like, this could also be used as a This could also inspire. You could create a movie that's essentially a demonstration of not what to do when creating camera shots. Just do everything wrong.
Yep.
Lots of Schenectady shots, cameras all over the place, just for the sake of it.
Pretty much exactly just like how to not. Well, we have a film for that. It's called Man from Schenectady.
And the remedy.
Yep, any bad iClone film you can possibly name. But this is pretty much like this is a down and dirty way, much more refinement, and you can have a much smoother camera angle focus on the character. It doesn't jerk, it's just as it is, and then you can edit, and then you can have the camera pulling back using the path animation, or maybe if you want to do it yourself. And that's how you get long takes. And then you can have the path swing back in a circle like that if you want to do the full 360 shot. It has to look, as long as it looks at that little dummy, because that's its main focus point.
As long as it stays focused on the character.
Yep. Well, it doesn't focus as long as it stays focused on that dummy there. That's what the camera's looking at. Because if you have it looking at Skygirl, the camera will shake around and just act bad. Unless you want to aim for a thing. But this is kind of the shot here.
Oh, needs a background.
It needs a background and how to fix. But as long as you maintain like the gray line if you want, it's a guideline. The rule of thirds. You notice how it does that? Because the hand passes over the skirt, so it drags the iClone cloth because this is a collision. But it's, you can have the dummy look at anything, so just in case it wants to go here. Oops. We'll have it focused here. And then you could have the dummy go down just a bit. So this is a lot of tweaking.
it. It's worth it though.
In fact, you can just move
Sure.
the dummy down a little bit just using the X transform. Here, and here, and here. Let's see. Shaky cam is pretty simple. And that's how you make a good camera angle. 2 shots are pretty simple. I'll put in a 2 shot. So we'll load up a new iClone scene and then finally stay down. This should move up just slightly. It's a lot of adjusting and tweaking, but it's very, very, very useful. I like 148. 152.0. There we go. See? Looks a lot better.
Very much.
Alrighty. There we are. Now, next thing that we gotta do, so let's do our 2 shot. 2 shots are pretty interesting. I like using them. So let's just let's put a movie set in. So
Oh, the living room.
like a living room, but maybe I'm gonna probably put it in as a coffee set. Yeah.
You got every set in there.
The movies? No, I haven't ripped it out. Not all of them. So basically, here's what you do. So let's put in
Is that just an exterior or?
just an exterior. We're not going to be fancy. And I'm just going to put in 2 chairs. I like to, this is me, this is my preference. I don't like to film in 1080. I like to do it, it's 1920 by 800. I like the widescreen effect. That's my style rendering.
I do like the letterbox.
I love
I'm experimenting by doing both.
People don't like it when I do it, but, you know, it's my taste. I've been doing it since 3 names. Excuse me.
In fact, so I've got this up. Sorry if it's a little dark, the image, but
So,
I know, well, obviously, you know, the camera work with the movies is limited, but
yeah,
any valid criticisms you have, I'm happy to hear them.
like it. The line matches. There's a lot of attention to detail here. The outline that kind of, well, it kind of mismatches, but it's not too distracting. And here comes the character. Oh, well, the outline does match. Oh, because you letterboxed. That's what I see. Yeah. Good angle. Close up. Good action. Good cut. It's pretty smooth. Smooth catches my attention.
Sound. Nice.
So let's put 2 characters here.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I tend to be. I don't know how you used to say it, but I try to be good with my camera work as well.
Hopefully, I think this is really our most informative show lately. This is really,
Hey, it is a good show.
I'm pretty happy about this. But this is, I remember seeing a film, and they were filming it. Let's have our animation first before I'm not going to name the film, what I saw, but everyone was praising it and saying, oh, it's great, you should be proud of yourself. And I'm like, no, there's a lot of technical issues. And the guy kind of ignored my advice in the past, and so I just don't respond to him. And that's the rule. If you just like go, if you kind of like, I don't know how he was about it, but I just don't listen. If you waste my time, I'm not going to give you criticism. I'm not gonna bother. I will, but if you kind of just blow it off and not do anything, I'm not gonna listen to you. I'm not gonna try.
It's great if you enjoy making stuff, but you got to be able to accept criticism as well. I mean, it may not sound nice, but
I mean that
you need to be able to improve.
because that's the rule. That's the rule of the internet. If you put something in, people are gonna comment on it, and that
Yeah.
applies for everybody, not just one guy. Someone's gonna critique your work, and I love it when somebody tears apart my films. They're like, no, that this could be this, and or this character. Why is this character doing this? I don't get pissed. I like it.
You take it well.
That's what I want. Honestly, that's what I want.
As long as it's not insulting to myself, then
Like, you suck, kill yourself. When I think I don't want comments
Oh.
like that.
oh yeah, they're a waste of time and not constructive.
Two shots are pretty interesting. I love big thing I love about widescreen is that you can reveal a lot more. So, let's look at.
Now I know like this affects called letterbox, but what is it when it's like in 16:9 but it doesn't have a letterbox? What's that called?
It's just a widescreen.
Just
Widescreen. But let's put in our favorite. Let's put in our grid.
to say my food arrives. I might be going off.
Okay. I might be closing up pretty shortly, though. I think I've mentioned all I gotta mention here.
You've gone into good detail though. I've even learned stuff myself about certain camera shots and techniques. I mean, you wouldn't think of it because it is just a camera after all. It only films the action, but you've just gone into so many ways, so many different ways as to how it can be used.
It's about telling the story. That's how I see it.
How you say it's the unseen third main character.
Yep. And one of my most controversial statements I said is people who say the script is more important than the filmmaking. I say they tend to be bad directors. They tend to be bad, and that got a lot of flack.
It is kind of true to some extent, though.
The screenplay, yes, it is important because it's a blueprint, but you gotta execute it. It's
But
like
if
it's like a well-designed blueprint, but you screwed up the part.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the most well-written screenplay ever, but if you execute it really poorly, then there's no merit, is there?
Yep. Remember that Truth film I made years ago in the movies game? I wanted to remake it in iClone.
There's quite a few old works you could remake, to be honest.
One was called The Hidden Truth, and there was a lot more animations instead of like, oh my god, it was an actual blind date, and the guy was like, oh. One of the jokes is like, well, at least I know where you came from. At least you're the batshit crazy woman who thinks she's a ninja, and she just flips out.
Should remake Baggage Boy and the Alien Attack.
I thought about making a trailer, but yeah, this is a great this is called the two shot, or over the shoulder. I mean, so characters.
It's common in dialogue scenes as well, and usually the person's head, the one whose face can't be seen, it's usually blurred, isn't it?
Yep. We would do motion. We would use their depth of field. Use the depth of field tool. And I've mentioned red focusing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll mention it again on the show. Rag focusing is or a focus pull or whatever, is where it goes from one subject to another. That's a rare thing in iClone. Only a handful of directors do that. Gabe was one. Shidden used it. Even though I'm not keen on Shidden's work on a writing level, but I'm envious of his technical level of detail.
Yeah, even if the writing isn't strong.
Well, it wasn't strong, but it's just I did not like how he treated women. I thought it was very, very. I just don't like it. But yeah, there's this. but he does shots like well, and he does technical work very, very well. But this the exploitive thing. But Shitten, Mark Small Wonder, Renee, director 1974, DirectX or Direct, whatever his name was. He does it. Peaches, I think, does it as well. Sola, or I can't pronounce the. She does it. I mean, there's so few filmmakers that do it in iClone. Like I can name like at least I think 10, less than 10. And I did it for a while. As soon as I discovered, like, oh shoot, we can rec focus. Like, that's perfect because we used to do it in the movies, but we had to switch. We had to green screen that, and that took a lot of work. Here, you just use the timeline. So let's put in another camera here of the male character. Make sure the eye line is matching. Oops, where's my character? North. Get over here. So have him match. Something like this. And there's a shot. I love these kind of shots. I really love doing these.
They're effective.
And especially, that grid could be very useful. I'll give a PNG to anybody who wants it. You just put it as an image layer, and then there we go. So we switch back to our camera, back here, from here to here. Effective. It looks so good. It honestly looks pretty good if they have two characters. And then let's put in another camera down the center for establishing. You can even oh shoot. I hate that so much. That's really obnoxious. Something like this, maybe.
Yeah, showing them face to face.
Trying to make it as level as I can.
Good technique in romance.
Very romantic. Very close-ups bring people together very well. Great for romantic scenes. Kissing scenes would be pretty good in close-ups. Alright, so right here and right here. Works pretty well. See how it looks. You want to bring it together. That's what I like about this wide screen effect here. So shots like this, you have you know what I mean. You have more space to put out.
True.
So right here, shot 1, shot 2, and shot 3. Very, very effective.
Perfect.
Let's see how does he follow? Yep, he does. Does she follow it? She does. But that would be pretty interesting. Walking scenes, as long as you follow. That's basically the guideline. It looks a lot better too, doesn't it? Not only that, but you can use close-ups as well. So we'll put in a camera 4. And this is how I like to render. I don't like. I rarely use the camera switch. People will probably say, "Why don't you use it?" I don't know. I just like shooting everything one scene and editing it out, depending on the mood.
You like things to look as professional as possible.
Yep, well, I like to have more control of everything. But yeah, right here. 3. And then suddenly something gets more interesting, so the guy reacts. Interesting camera angle. So we go to him. Maybe not that close. I like to turn that off here. There we go. More control. There. Maybe. I'm just gonna use the camera zoom. Right here. There we go. Alrighty, and then suddenly, so let's go to our camera 1, camera, shot, boom, 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 boom. Simple, professional, to the point. Works a lot better than having them completely in the center talking. There.
That was a bad thing in Schenectady, where it just every conversation it was just one
big
long
giant
shot.
pan.
Yeah, and just facing each other.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
It's you don't want to do shots like that, but you want shots to get the tension going. Not only that, but the selection of the shot, the close up. She's staring at a cup of coffee. Maybe her look. I'll mention Kuleshov effect in the next one or so. Maybe when I cover editing. Well, I should do it soon because I'm running my subscription will run out. But well, I can do it in Sony Vegas as well. But the Kuleshov effect is an amazing. It's a theory saying that if a character looks at it and then you cut to a two shots will cut an effect. The most famous one, Hitchcock actually used a great example of the Kuleshov effect. Is that he did an example where he shot a close up of him, and then it cut to a picture of a woman holding a child, and it cut back to him smiling. Well, what does that say? He's a nice old man. Nice
Yeah,
old
pretty
man,
much.
kindly old gentleman. And then he said, okay, we're going to remove the picture of the woman holding a child and put the picture of a woman in a bikini.
And that perverted old man.
Yep, perverted old man. That's the power of editing. So that's another thing you got to take in consideration of. The close-up of the shot of the angle here. So maybe she says, oh, look, I'm pregnant. And then the guy's look is, oh, crap. And the close-up. That's how you tell a story through the camera.
Definitely. Editing in a certain context.
Editing and camera work and the selection of any camera angle, like I said, the camera tells its story. It depends on where you put the camera and how you put the camera in and what tricks you use will tell the most effective story you can. But I think that'll do it for the iClone Film School.
Think it was a good episode.
It was.
I was interested in what you had to show.
I think. Oh, that would be really fun to do. But that shot is. I think that's all I can tell right now. But if anybody had any questions, I'll probably cover that. Nope. No questions. I'm good.
Alright, well,
Well, thanks for everybody tuning in. If you're on the live, this thing will be later on today. Oh, it'll process as soon as I close the live stream out. But that should be it. Maybe next time I'll probably have to cover voice acting.
oh yeah, that should be an interesting one.
I'll cover voice acting. I'll probably show you how to record. Not only that, but iClone has a lip syncing editing tool, which you can edit and do your own lip syncing. Not that, but I'll mention a couple of sites. I'll have to contact the people behind it and give them a little shout out. All right, see you later.
Good episode.